It's the end of week 3. I know what you're thinking. I look like I've got much longer hair than what is probably going to be shown in the video coming forward. This week has felt a little bit more transformational from the vlog side of things. There are a few versions of the edit that I wanted to make. One of them was just about going through the actual katakana, kanji, vocab, all about the actual experience about learning the language. But then as I was going through the footage and I was recapping the journey that I've been through during week 3, there was a much more important story to be told, which was one of acceptance and one of letting go and allowing yourself to let the program guide you through this. Jesus, I sound like a cult. I sound like a cult leader. Can we... Allowing the course to guide you through the path of becoming fluent in Japanese. What I wanted this vlog to be is just sort of be a little diary of how things went and how things are going and how I feel about learning Japanese, and basically demystifying the whole idea that this has to be hard. With that being said, week 3 has really just been about accepting and just allowing the program to take its course, because there are things you're going to struggle with. I've become a lot better in a very short amount of time. And something that I do want to record after the week 4 vlog comes out is just like a 1-month retrospective and just go over sort of the things that have changed more than anything else in the course of a month of learning Japanese. So without further ado, here's week 3, and here's some of the things that happened in week 3. Day 1 of week 3 picked up where I left off from week 2. We're still on the 2-year pace here, and the lesson content was straightforward enough, but the katakana was proving to be a bit more difficult. At this stage of my progression, it's still very new to me, but I'm self-aware enough to know that it's just a question of exposure and time, just like with hiragana. Yeah, it's coming thick and fast now. Katakana is proving to be challenging, but I think it's just because I'm still learning it and I'm still getting used to it. I'm sure it will get better over time. 2 more units until we hit the first milestone. I carried the momentum forward into day 2 with some reviews. Even though there were only 12 review cards, the struggles with katakana and kanji continued. The older material has had a lot more time to marinate at this point, and I was becoming more confident in those cards, but I was still forgetting some key characters. As the reviews progressed, it dawned on me that perhaps I was doing something that probably wasn't helping myself learn the kanji well at all. Moving forward, I'm realizing that I really need to study the kanji, because in the lesson, I'm not actually looking at the kanji. I find myself that I'm looking at the furigana, and it's impacting my ability to learn certain kanji or to remember certain kanji. Just making a mental note of this for the vlog, that remember the kanji, like operate the kanji. I know we haven't really talked about kanji yet, but this is the next best way to get through it. It's just to remember photographically, like, what is this? Okaiki onegashimasu. Because like the only reason I remembered onegashimasu is because I can read this. Like I know this is ishimasu or ishimasu. And the only thing that's missing is naga. So onegashimasu. That all being said, katakana continued to be a struggle despite being served it repeatedly in the flashcards. It was causing me some alarm. Just a little bit more effort on my part here. I recognize there's a problem. And I know it's a me problem, it's not a course problem. Maybe it is a course problem, I don't know. I'd be interested to see if anybody else has had this problem in our community, which, by the way, if you're not part of the community, join it. It's discord.gg/NativShark. This seems like a very uniquely me thing. I feel like I should know this. I feel like the program's done everything in its power to make me learn this properly. But for whatever reason, it's not sticking, and I need to figure it out. I'll figure it out. And I did figure it out. There was a big decision to be made. Okay. This is week 3, day 3. We're going to make a little change here today. And that change is that we're going to scale back the pace a bit. Something that I'm finding is that I think just thinking about like my troubles with retaining information, retaining katakana, retaining like the new kanji that I learn. I think for me, the problem is that I need a little bit more time for things to set. And I think I need to just slow down so I can absorb the new stuff a little bit better. Because when I'm doing 2 units, I'm learning 2 sets of new stuff. For whatever reason, katakana and kanji are not clicking in my head. So I'm going to go into my pace slider and I'm going to set our pace to 4 years instead of 2 years. And yes, that means only 1 unit a day. That also means less time spent and hopefully a lot easier to progress our streak and our progress through phase 1. I think one of the best things that's happened for my journey so far was to realize that the 2-year study pace was a little bit too fast, because I was having trouble retaining information. I was having issues with my reviews every day. I was starting my days off on the wrong foot. It would start with 2 or 3 cards, but then eventually would go up to 4, 5, or 6 cards, to the point where like half my reviews I was pressing I forgot. And that doesn't feel like progress to me. That feels like stagnation. And it so contrasts with how much I had progressed. I know I didn't want it to be easy, but I didn't want to feel bad. Because if I feel bad about something I'm trying to get better at, well then why would I continue getting better at it? Moving forward, dropping down to just 1 unit a day, my study sessions become a lot more manageable. I only learn so much in one day that I could come back to it the next day, stumble a little bit on the reviews, sure, but then come back the preceding day without more information in my head, without more fluff occupying my brain, when the real goal was just to get familiar with that day's cards. And I got better at more difficult things faster. And that's the biggest key takeaway, I think. By dropping down to 2-year pace, I found that I could learn better, I could absorb things better, versus going 2 years, which to me, even though it's not my first rodeo with learning a language, even though I have a lot of experience in learning in general, 2 years still felt fast, and it still felt like a bit too much. You need to establish the foundations well. And if phase 1 is supposed to be our foundations, then let's not muck about here. Let's slow it down, let's be a little bit at ease with ourselves, and just make sure we get it right. And I think it worked. Okay, it is now day 7 of week 3. And today I had a little think over like last night's flashcard system and like trying to make sense of like the kanji and the kana and the katakana. And honestly, it's not something I want to focus too much about. I think one of the biggest things I want to take away from this week is acceptance. Acceptance that there are things that I just will not understand until I go through into this program a little bit more. As I go through it, I just realize I want to understand more. I really do. But I lack the necessary background to just allow myself to just be like, yeah, this is what this is, this is what that is. And when you're trying to learn something, is like, it seems new and exciting, you want to do a lot of it. But with a language, it's not something you can just pick up in a matter of months. It's something that you really need to study for years and years. So this week has been more so a mindset adjustment that perhaps I just need to be okay with the fact that I won't understand everything. And I have to trust this program to get me through that. There's always the fear that I'm going to be sat here in about 3 or 4 months' time with egg on my face, having studied so much and still struggling with the same things. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Already I can feel that there's been progress this week, especially with respect to kanji and katakana, which I've been struggling with. So yeah, without further ado, let's do this week's studies. The final day was no less challenging than the other days, as we had 7 sets of the voice katakana to go through. But because it was the final stage of learning katakana, I was motivated. I powered through it, accepting that I wouldn't know it well, that I would have a hard time retaining it. But I got through it. I finished the lesson, and at the end, there was a shiny new progression badge waiting for me. Finally. Week 3, we got it done, finally. I'm still not 100% on it. I'm still like trying to figure out certain katakana, like I still do double takes with the katakana, but we've covered it. And I'm excited to actually use the Kana review tool to really solidify my understanding of katakana in particular. There's definitely hiragana I feel like I'm really good at now, but I'm not like 100% at it. Katakana, it's definitely something that needs more work. 1000% needs more work. So we'll do that soon. Looking back at the vlog, I was coming in from week 2 where I felt very, very stressed. I felt like I had missed a lot of learning. I had gone 4 days without studying, and then I had to make it all up on that last day. And I realized now that that was a really very reactionary, emotional thing to do. It's not something I would recommend anybody does. Just because you miss some days doesn't mean you have to work double or triple time to get over it or to make up for it. What really made me feel good was that the study sessions suddenly didn't take as long. And I was less stressed throughout the day of getting something done. Because I knew it would only take 20 to 30 minutes instead of the 45 to an hour that it would take before. Because I would read everything and get stressed about things that then in the next paragraph the course will tell me not to get stressed about. By the end of the week, I was studying NativShark in a way that was it was like a complete 180 to how I started the week. And I think the big key thing here is because I let go of my own standards for learning something. When I compared the approach from now to the beginning of the week, I think I was going for a sprint before, and now I'm realizing, no, this is a marathon. Quite literally, we went from 2 years to 4 years, so you have to account for a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. You have to apply that patience to your studying. A little every day is a lot better than doing a lot one day, burning out, and then messing up your rest of your days. It's okay to say to yourself, look, this is going to take me 4 years, even though that's not really what we want to hear anymore. But the fact of the matter is, learning language is not easy. And fundamentally, nothing that's worth having comes easy. So you have to allow yourself that time. You have to allow yourself to slow down. Because it will come out the other side. It will come out in the watch. I'm realizing that trusting the program and just allowing yourself to go through it, you'll learn so much more than if you were to put up a fight and try and memorize every single little detail. That's it for me this week. I hope you enjoyed this different format. I kind of like doing it this way too. Regardless, I'll see you next week. Cheers.